Now, this name should be very familiar. If you heard of Mattaes Phillipou, you would know who Jevan is, who I had on previously earlier in the year, and we're coming back. We're under 3 weeks now before the draft. Jevan, welcome back, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Now, how are you feeling, Jevan? Obviously, just under 3 weeks before the draft. Obviously, when we last spoke around May, it was still a while away. How are you feeling right now heading into a period where in 3 weeks' time you went an AFL club?
Pretty excited. The last, I guess, couple of months have gone pretty slowly, and it's I guess getting to the pointy end now. I'm just so excited. I can't wait for it to, I guess, finally happen, and yeah, just trying to stay as relaxed as possible as well in such an exciting time. Yeah.
Sure. Is there any nerves? Because obviously a lot of people, have this thing where they're really nervous, they're not nervous, they're in between. Is it the closer you get, the more nervous you get, or the more less stressful it is?
Oh, I haven't felt heaps nervous, to be honest. Like, I always kind of felt like I had a bit of an expectation of myself, a bit of a goal with myself that I always wanted to get picked up. And, I didn't really think about the possibility of not. So I haven't really been nervous too much. I'm sure I'll be very nervous on the night or the days leading in when you kind of, can put it all together and, understand what might happen. But no, I haven't felt nervous. I'm just so excited.
Sure. Obviously, I don't know if they've done it yet. Maybe you can reveal it here. Do they give out the nominations yet if you get invited to draft night? If so, do you know yet if you'll be going to draft night?
Yeah, I think they do. I haven't got an invite, so I think I'm probably just outside that couple that get the invites. I'm sure, they wouldn't know exactly where everyone's going yet. They'd invite the ones that are certainties to go inside the top, 5 or 10. So, yeah, not sure yet.
That's fair. Obviously, your brother Mattaes obviously well publicised about the self-confidence, and that's something we brought up last time. Now, obviously, as I mentioned in the past, obviously, people kind of like attracted to that comment about the self-confidence, and I don't see an arrogant side of thing. And some people in the outer world think that it might be that, but personally, I don't think it's an arrogant thing. I think it's just a belief that you're confident in your ability to what it is. How do you react to people that may think opposite of how you mentioned and your brother mentioned a few years back?
No, I'm fine with it. Like, it's their opinion. They're entitled to it. I don't have an issue at all. I guess the thing for me is, like, I'm not openly confident. I don't just go and run my mouth about how good I am. Like, if I'm asked a question, I'm going to back myself in. That's all it is.
Of course.
And, that is the self-belief. That is the self-confidence. But no, I don't have an issue with anyone that's got an ultimate opinion to me.
For sure. Now, when we last spoke, you were going through an injury, obviously at the start of the season, which kind of derailed the start to your season. Obviously, you've came back since then and had some good performances for Woodville and everything like that. How's it been through that injury period, and how did you get through that period until you came back?
Yeah, I think we spoke just before, like, I had a bit of a swelling in my knee, which was pretty minor. I broke my arm a couple of weeks after we spoke, which was the main injury. But after I got back from that, I was really good. Like, you had a few good performances, got up into the league team, which was great. So it went really well. Obviously it was a long rehab process with the broken arm. Had to focus on making sure I was getting everything right and doing all the right things to give myself the best chance to come back as good a shape as possible and let the arm heal as well as possible. I feel like I was able to do that.
Very good. Now, the draft combine, obviously, that was obviously not too long ago. I think under a month ago. How was that experience getting to know some of the players that maybe you've only heard of online and haven't had to meet in person? Then the testing itself, how was all that?
Yeah, it was super cool. Like, it was a crazy experience. It didn't feel real at first. Like, I remember, walking in around the G and you get a good, overlook of the oval. It was crazy. Like, it was such a cool experience. But it all went really well. Like, all the interviews, all the testing, I couldn't be happier, to be honest. I met a few of the boys from Victoria and WA and obviously the Allies squad as well. So it was good to connect with a few other boys I didn't know before. And it was a great experience.
That's good. Who would you say are some players that you may have not known too much about or never kind of interacted with before that you got to see through these testings or just through the other state champs while being out injured that you thought, gee, they're a bloody impressive player in person as well?
That's a good question. Like, I competed against Avery Thomas, one of the Tasmanian prospects in the decathlon a couple of years ago, and we hadn't, I guess, seen each other since then. So it was good to speak to him, and he's a very impressive athlete, super powerful. So He's one that was, very impressive. Spoke to Sam Grill. He introduced himself to me, which was pretty cool as well. Obviously, I've met him before, and he did well in the testing as well. So there's a couple.
There we go. Now, obviously, you mentioned there meeting with the clubs. How recruiting questions is a key part of this process. I don't expect you to put teams to the questions, but what type of questions, Jevan? Were there some questions that you were a bit rogue and a bit out there, or a bit different to what you were expecting, and that you did get or heard others get?
Yeah, I had to interview one of the recruiters in the room in one of mine for I think it was a minute or 2 minutes. I had to ask him 5 questions, which was definitely something I didn't expect. Like I was, anticipating I'm going to be the one that's getting interviewed, but no, I was doing the interviewing, so that was cool. I had to analyze a bit of footage, which was fun.
Okay.
I had to play a few like board games. Like they had us playing games against one of the people in the room in one as well. I was a little bit, confused on what was going on. I thought I was there to, talk about footy or whatever, and we're playing board games. That was different as well.
That's interesting. I haven't heard the board games one too much. I've heard the previous few years, I've heard people say if they were a car, what car would they be, dead or alive, who would you take out to dinner? I've heard some very interesting ones, but they kind of got nothing to do with footy. And it's like those type of questions, it seems like from anyone I've spoken to that have been in that position, like, there's some of the questions the majority of them aren't even about footy, it seems.
Well, I know, like the playing board games got nothing to do with footy. So that was probably the weirdest one, but I'm sure that they'd have their reasoning behind it.
For sure. And going into meeting a particular club for the first time, and the very first one you had throughout this last few years, do you get more nervous going into those meetings compared to, say, this draft period, or are they just like that period that you're finding there as well? Or does it take a while to sink in and get used to these recruiting people and just the questions and maybe knowing some of the faces in general because they're the big dogs?
Yeah, no, I haven't felt nervous. Like I've always felt really excited. Like I don't have a problem with speaking or talking, and they ask you pretty similar questions anyway, so it's not too hard. And I enjoy it. It's pretty fun. So no, I haven't felt nervous. I get a little bit nervous before games when I got to go out and perform, but no, not for any interviewing or anything like that. No.
That's fair. Now, obviously, your brother Mattaes has been through this position a few years back, being in the top first round as well. Has he given you any advice, in particular in the last month or so, heading into the biggest part of your footy career?
Oh, a little bit, just simple stuff like don't get hung up on a club or connected to a club, and I guess get your heart set on a club because everything can change really quickly, and they can do something last minute or change their mind or whatever. So just I guess be open to anything and be excited for anything because it's the beauty of the unknown. So just stay ready for anything and be happy that you're getting drafted. That's it.
For sure. Does it give you some confidence in a way, knowing that your brother's been through the same process in terms of going interstate? Whereas if that was to happen to you, you kind of have someone that's been in that position very close to you before, and you kind of know wherever that would be, they had to adjust to something like that as well, even.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely something would that helped me heaps. Like I think, seeing Mattaes go through it was good, and he knows what works and what doesn't, and we're pretty similar as well. So he'll be able to help me wherever I land. So that'll be very, very exciting as well to seek out more information from him. But no, it should be good. Like I don't have an issue with moving anywhere, and he didn't take long to adjust either.
That's fair. And do you kind of get any bit of an inkling, Jevan, through these recruiting periods? Because sometimes some people feel like they've got a little bit of an idea of where they think that it may be heading towards. Is there some clubs that you feel like that may have been giving more of an interest than maybe some others? Is there they kept it very secretive? Is there any that you kind of feel like you might have a rough idea where it may potentially land, or just completely open still?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I think I do, but then you second guess yourself and you don't really know what's going to happen. But there's definitely been a handful of clubs that I can tell that are more interested than others, and just by the interviews have been more intense and more in depth and more in detail. And obviously the clubs that contact you more are probably more interested than others. But again, you never know what's going to happen. So I've had, obviously it runs through my mind, seeing clubs and the way they go about it. They're probably more interested than others, but I try and switch off a little bit, especially during this period, because a little bit in the dark at the moment.
For sure. And then I hear some of the stories that people in your position, they feel like, and it gets indicated or seems indicated that, they're more interested. And then a draft night comes around and it's like the club you go to was probably one you look back at and you go, gee, I didn't really speak to them too much. And it just happens to be there. Then you got the live trading aspect as well. So everything can change.
I know, that's right. You're spot on. Like, I remember, I think there was a story on Mitch Georgiades, like Port didn't speak to him once, and they really wanted him. I think it was him, and they ended up taking him. No one knew about it. So, like you said, it can all happen. It can all change very quickly, and it's a very, I guess, hectic period. Like you said, trading, picks and whatnot. It's exciting.
For sure. Now, this is a little bit tongue in cheek here, but if obviously the Saints, we obviously traded out all our picks, being the Saints supporter I am, as you know, and then all these picks go out, but the gun recruits come in. It's just great to see. Is there a little hope that the Saints might do another Swifty on draft night and, pull out another future first or something like that and end up at the same team as your brother? Or would you like to be separated and go somewhere else and compete against him potentially?
Great question. I'd be lying if I told you there wasn't a hope that maybe they had something up their sleeve. But again, like it's a very slim chance. Like there's 18 teams out there. You've got to be ready for it. But like in terms of playing with him, like I definitely prefer I'd choose to play with him if I could. But I'd love to play against him as well. There's no doubt about it.
For sure, because I remember last time when I asked you who was the better player out of you two, and you mentioned yourself, I think, but you mentioned him, but you feel like you could be the option to eventually down the track to be better. So I say that because I feel like it would be a very interesting matchup if you were to come up against each other, probably different positions, obviously, but in terms of the club, that'd be very intriguing and keen to see how it goes. I'm sure your family would be very split 50-50 there.
Yeah, it'd be pretty entertaining, wouldn't it? Like we were actually talking about it the other day, like what would happen if we, matched up on each other in the midfield, and it's something that I think about a little bit too much, I think, but it'd be very cool, I'm sure. And if somehow we are in the same team, in our careers, I'm sure we'll go against each other in training anyway.
For sure. Now, there's a lot of SA guys that get talked about, in this year's draft. Aiden Schubert's one that comes to mind. Mitch Marsh, good old cricket reference for the Bison that keeps getting mentioned. Who's some of the SA guys outside of yourself, Jevan, that you feel like a lot of people should keep an eye out going on for future years that will be getting drafted this year as well? Who's some names to look out for from the SA crop in particular?
Yeah, I think like the boys that you mentioned. Another one like I haven't even met him at all, but he looks pretty exciting. He's Latrell Pickett. Like he's come up.
Oh yeah,
Rager, but like he looks very exciting. Very quick, very agile, and a bit of a goal sneak. Like he looks awesome. So I think he's probably another one to keep the eye on as well.
Sure, and I must forgive for not mentioning Dyson Sharp, who may be the first one of the SA crop as well. I conveniently forgot the top one.
Yeah, he's definitely up there as well. Had a great year. Obviously, the captain of SA, and they won the championship, so he'll definitely be up there as well.
For sure. I mean, there'll be so many names that they do pretty well. Now, obviously, your football this year obviously played all for Mattaes. You mentioned came back and had some strong games. How did you find your form going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, good. I think it was better than probably overall better than the start of my season. Like it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, coming back from a very, I guess, almost traumatic injury, to have a few of my best games in the under 18s. I think I put that down to just going out there and playing, no expectation, coming off a serious injury. So that was good. And then being elevated to the league team was a dream come true and a huge goal checked off. So that was awesome as well. And I thought, I was able to play a pretty good role in that team up forward as well.
Very good. And then just a few more for you, mate. So I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, football career, I mean, aspirations, people always, have these goals in mind. They want to have a successful career. But what would you ideally like to get out of your hopeful AFL career? And how would you like that ideally to pan out?
I just want to get in there and I guess the main goal at the moment is to just get in, start training and hit the ground running. Obviously, I've got a clean slate with all the other players wherever that is. In terms of career, just a successful career is just try and play as many games as possible. Try and stay in there and have a biggest impact as you can on the league. That's keep it pretty generic, but that's the main thing.
For sure. Now, this last one is the big bold call. I love making bold calls on the internet. This time I'm going to get you to make the bold call. If you're going to make a prediction right now, I'm going to tell people the date. It's the 31st of October here, so this is after the draft. If you had to pick, Jevan, where you think club-wise you'll end up at, let's make this bold call. Let's see if we can make this into fruition. Let's see. What club do you feel like you may end up at?
What club? Honestly, I've got no idea. I don't even know if I can answer that.
Okay.
I've got no clue, man. I've got honestly no clue. What
That's
club?
fair.
I don't know if I could say the club. Maybe I'll say where.
Okay.
Like maybe just outside, just outside the top 10. I'll say that somewhere around there.
All right. I'll make the bold call for you, and I'll just go. All right, let's just go. We'll go Richmond. All right, we'll see what happens, Jevan. I really appreciate you coming on again, mate. All the best in 3 weeks' time. Hopefully, your dreams they will get realised, and you have a long, successful career wherever that may be, and whether it's with or against your brother. It'll be great to see. So, really appreciate you coming on again, mate. All the best.
No worries. Anytime. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.